So for navigation, we will go to our presentation layer. Here we will create another package named as common, and in which we will create another object class routes, make it as object, and for the screens we have the splash screen. So wall splash, and then onboarding, and the third one is the sign-in screen. And the next thing is we need to add the dependency, and which you have already added the dependency for navigation compose. So now we will go to our main activity, and here in the surface we will create nav host. First of all, nav controller, and use this nav controller, and start destination would be our splash screen, and in here we will put all our screens which we want to show in this navigation graph. So first of all we will use composable, which is another function coming from the navigation library. In here we will tell the route of this screen, which is a splash screen, and in here we will provide the splash screen component, and same goes for the others too. Onboarding, actually we haven't created the onboarding screen yet. Onboarding screen and sign in, screen. So then next we will create the onboarding screen. We already created the file, just need to create the onboarding screen. Onboarding screen, onboarding content, yes, this one. And the third one is we need the sign-in screen, so create another package in here, sign-in screen, create a compose component, sign-in screen, and box, fill max size, and put a simple text in here, sign in. and import these two screens here. Alt enter import and alt enter import. So now we have make this route, and if we run this app, then this navigation in this nav host we have set the start destination to this place. So the first screen will be shown to the user, and from there we will navigate it to the onboarding screen. So here on splash screen we need to tell the navigation host that we want to navigate to the next screen. So for that we will create a lambda function here, navigate next, which takes string as parameter, and trigger this lambda host after let's say when user wait after 2 seconds. And after 2 seconds we want to navigate to the onboarding screen, and now on the main activity we consume this lambda function right like this, route nav controller navigate, and pass the route in that, and we will be navigated to the onboarding screen. So let's see that if this is working as expected. So I have connected my physical device here, so select it and run. So app have been launched to our device. So here first splash screen is shown to the user, and after 2 seconds user is navigated to this onboarding screen. So and the next thing is we need to click on next to move this onboarding flow from 1 to 2 and 3, and after the 3 one when user hit next, then navigate to the sign in screen. So before that, couple of things that need to be actually there are some of the UI changes need to be done according to our design, because here we have a large canvas in our Figma design, but on our physical device it's if we set this spacing on top, bottom, left, right according to our this design, then this won't be shown perfectly or as expected on our device screen. So we will do this spacing fixation at the end of the video. So let's continue with our navigation flow. So the first so the next thing is when user click on next, then we want to navigate to this next screen, and next and the content will be changed, the image and title and description. Actually description is same, but we will consider it as it's changing as well. So we need to update this data whenever user click on next. So for that we need to retain that information in a state, data state. For that I will create a new class here, data class here, onboarding UI state, which would be a data class, Actually I misspelled the words. Onboarding, and in this we have these three properties: the image, so int image, so image will be the resource ID of this image, so we will annotate it with this drawable, so it will help the other developers to identify that this will take the resource ID of drawable. And the next is title and description. For that we will use title and description. This would be a string resource. And by default we set this default value to it, or drawable onboarding image 1, or string explore upcoming event, or string in publishing. So we have created our onboarding UI state here, and the next thing is we need to pass this UI state to our screen, and we will retain this onboarding UI state in our view model. So we need to create a view model for that, onboarding view model. In here we will use UI state, mutable state flow, onboarding UI state, and pass the default value to this onboarding UI state. We already set the default values in here, and next is we need to expose this UI state like this, and make it immutable like this. And now we can access this UI state in our view model. So we will come to our onboarding screen. Here we will pass view model first, and here UI state by view model UI state collect as state, press alt enter to get the get extension function, and pass this UI state to our onboarding content. And here we will use UI state, and by passing this in this function as a parameter. Onboarding UI state, and in here we will show the image here. So UI state image, and in the description we need to pass this UI state to bottom container. So onboarding UI state and show the title and description here by passing the UI state value. Okay, and we have passed the value down to this UI state. We need to remove this error as well by passing the UI state. So for UI state, remember onboarding UI state and bottom container. Onboarding UI state passing in here. And the next thing is we need to pass this handle next event to the ViewModel to update the state according to that. So first of all, we go to our ViewModel and here we will create a method private var navigate next, let's say next on click, and we want to the user to navigate to the next item. So here when user click on this next, then we want to go to the first one screen and the second one and third one. So for that, actually we first need to understand on which state currently we are. Are we on the first onboarding screen content or second onboarding screen content? So this information we can get from the UI state dot value. Actually we haven't set any specific thing for that. Let's do it here. Onboarding enum we'll create a onboarding enum here, and there's onboarding 1, 2 and 3, and by default it will be on onboarding 1. So here we will get the onboarding enum. So save it into a variable current state onboarding state. So if this is equal to onboarding event 2 or 2, then we want to actually it is equal to 1, then we want to navigate to onboarding 2. So for that we need to update the image title and description. So we will create 3 UI state dot update image or drawable img1 onboarding, and onboarding enum would be onboarding 2. title would be web have modern web. We haven't created this string for that, so let's copy this. web have modern events. Web have modern events. Press alt enter and create string value, paste it in here, remove the extra spacing from start and end, and okay. And the next is description. The description is same as it is, so we will set this in publishing and graphic. And so yeah, this is it. If we are our current onboarding state is onboarding 1, then we want to navigate to the onboarding 2, and if current onboarding state is equal to onboarding 2, then we want to navigate to the third screen of onboarding. So copy and paste it in here. We have onboarding 3 and img of onboarding. Here we need to update this to onboarding 2, onboarding 3, and title would be, what is the title of this one? To look up more events. So copy this one, to look up more events. To look up more events, place all enter and create string resource, paste in here, remove the extra spacing, and okay. And the description is same as it is. So yeah, this is what we will do if user is on onboarding 3, and in the else part, that means user is on onboarding 3, then we want to navigate next. So we haven't created, so we will create this first, handle this next on click. So how we will get this event from this onboarding container next button to this view model. So for that we will create a event class, which would be a sealed class, onboarding event. Which would be a sealed class, and in here we will see next on click and skip on click. These are two methods, so we will handle it here like object class next on click, onboarding event, and skip on click. And in our screen, what we will do is on the onboarding, actually in the view model, we will create a function in here on event, which take onboarding event as a parameter, and here we will use when condition event, press alt enter and get the remaining branches, and here we will call the next on click and skip on click, and which will navigate to next screen. And we need to call this on event from our view, which is compose component, and in here we will pass this on event to our onboarding content. So just like this, on event Go to view model on event, and in here we create another lambda function on event onboarding event, which would be a lambda function, and in here we will pass that on event to our bottom container, and in bottom container we create that lambda function and pass it that into the function, this function as a parameter. And in here when user click on next, we will pass this on event next on click event to this, and when user click on skip button, then we will pass the skip on click event. And so we have passed this event to traverse. We have seen an error here. This is because we haven't passed the set the on event here. So, and on onboarding content we will pass this in the preview as well to remove this error. And all control alt L to refactor the spacing. And the next is we have passed this next event to our view model, and that on event method will be triggered, and when this will be triggered, the next on click function will be called. And now we need to we have traversed this next event to our view model, and the next on click function will be called, and we need to navigate to the next screen, navigate next, which take routes of the next screen, and onboarding, this would be navigate to the sign in screen. And now here we will press alt enter and create this method. Okay, so for view models there are two types of events. So one type of event which we will receive from the UI. So we will receive the UI event in the view model just like this using on event, and there are some events that we need to pass from view model to the UI, because we don't want to tightly couple our view model with our nav controller. That's why we don't pass this nav controller instance to our view model. So here we will create another shield class, the UI event, which contains all those events which are sent from view model to the UI. So data class, navigate next, which take route as a parameter, UI event, and in here we will create a shared flow, named it event flow, shared flow, mutable shared flow and pass it set the type UI event and expose this out of the view model by making it immutable version of it. And we will send the event to this event flow by saying event flow emit navigate next and pass the route. So here this emit function is showing an error here. This is because this emit function is a suspend function and we can only call suspend function from within a suspend function only. For that we will wrap this function into a view model scope. And dispatcher would be main because we want to call this on the main thread. I don't know why it's showing error. I have already imported this one. Let's see. View model scope. Okay, this will be, we will see it later. It's already imported. And the next is we need to listen these events to in our UI. So for that we will use a launched effect function here, pass it true key. The purpose of launched effect is that this will be called whenever that key will be changed, and we don't want to call it multiple times during the recomposition process of this compose screen or compose component. So that's why we are passing it true, because we don't want to initialize the listener of the event flow again and again. View model event flow collect latest event, and here we will use when condition alt enter add remaining branches, and here we will navigate next, and we will pass this navigate next event to our main activity, and in here we have the access to the nav controller and we can navigate to the next screen. So for that we will create another lambda function in our onboarding screen, which will be navigate next, take string as parameter, event dot route. So we will pass that navigate next event to our navigate next method, and in here in our main activity navigate next, nav controller, navigate route. So this is the flow from the screen to our, from view model to our UI, and from our UI to our main activity. So let's run it and see the effect of that. So here we need to pass the route on skip. Actually we will navigate to routes dot sign in, and we are still getting this view model scope error. Import extension property view model dot view model scope. Okay, so let's remove it from here, and we create a variable here, scope, view model scope. Actually, okay, we are making that mistake that we need to call the launch method on it, and that launch method will take the dispatcher as a parameter. So for further refactoring, we will create a variable here, view model scope, and use this variable whenever we need the scope, view model scope. So okay, next let's run it. Okay, so now we are on splash screen, and now click on next. Content is changed, again changed, and now we are on sign in screen. So let's fix few things which I have noticed here. Is that when I click on next, this circular indicators are not showing as expected, and this bottom container is taking too much space because now its text content is not fitting in two lines, so it's showing in 3 lines. So in our design it's showing in 2 lines, so we will limit the number of lines to this title and description to 2 lines only. So for that we will go to our bottom container, and in here we have our title, and set the lines to max lines to 2, and max lines of description to 2, and change the circle indicator. So here we need to change the opacity of this one. So if, let's say first this one, y dot copy if UI state dot onboarding enum is equal to onboarding enum dot 1, then we want to make the full opacity of this one, and otherwise it would be 20% opacity, and same thing will be applied for other circles. But here if this is the second circle, so we will it will be white when the onboarding state is 2, and this one is the third circle, which would be white when the onboarding step is 3. So yeah, these are the things that we have need to change. So let's run it and see in the real app, in the device. Okay, so now if I click on next, then the only two lines are showing, but we are not seeing the ellipses, the three dots at the end of this text. So let's set the ellipses in here. Text overflow ellipses, which will be shown at the end of this text. And now let's run it again. Okay, so now let's click on next again, and now we can see the ellipses in here. The circle indicator is updating, and we are on the sign in screen. So the navigation stuff have been completed. So the next thing is we need to fix this spacing stuff, that there is too much space on the bottom container, I think, or maybe it's okay because on larger screen it will be shown as expected. So yeah, and the last thing is the skip button. Whenever user click on skip, then we want the user to navigate to the sign in screen. So this is it for today video. So I hope this video will be helpful for you in your projects. If you have any feedback, then let me know in the comments below. So thank you for watching. Bye.